Hello, beautiful homemakers. We are now in Chapter 10 of Secrets of Fascinating Womanhood. Secret number 7. Make the most of yourself. Saturday afternoon, Ted came by and picked up the children and took them back to his flat to watch a video. It was raining, so Angela stayed inside the house and caught up with many of the tasks she had been forgetting to do over recent months. As they had occurred to her during the week, she had written them down on her purse notebook or on the new writing board in the kitchen. Later that afternoon, Angela covered the love book that she had bought with pink paper. She also pasted on a favorite photo of Ted and glued some little colorful flower pictures around the edges. Then she went outdoors and sat on the covered patio, out of the rain, and wrote her first entry in her love book. Ted's words to her on the phone. "Your notes were very nice, Angie. They even brought tears to my eyes." After writing Ted's words, Angela felt relaxed and peaceful. She sat and watched the late spring rain falling, enjoying the warm moistness of the air and the lush green of the lawn and trees. Angela pondered her future. How wonderful it will be when Ted comes back, she thought. It will be so nice to snuggle up to him at night in bed, and how good it will be not to have to go out to work. I enjoy teaching my students, but it's such a strain having to come home to another full-time job. It will be so much nicer to stay home and enjoy doing my homemaking well, and to visit my friend Amy. And I want to start learning the piano again and catch up on my reading, especially about health. Her father's sudden heart attack and death had aroused in Angela a deep desire to know more about health. She remembered again her dad's words. "Everything will turn out all right, Angela. You'll see." She smiled softly and felt her eyes fill with tears of love for her dad. On Tuesday after school, Angela took her 2 children to the shopping center to buy groceries. She parked the car outside the supermarket and asked Tiffany to go to the chemist and pick up the photos that were being printed while she went into the supermarket to buy groceries. When Angela returned to the car, she saw Tiffany and David looking through the photos, laughing. She put the groceries in the boot of the car, then sat inside and looked through the photos also. She was appalled when she saw one photo that David had taken of her from behind 2 weeks ago. "Oh, no! I don't look like that, do I? Let me see." Tiffany plucked the photo from her mother's hand. "You've got a fat bum." "Bottom, not bum," snapped Angela. "Don't use that word. It's crude." "Well, you've got a fat bottom, then," said Tiffany, handing back the photo. "Bum's got a fat bung," said David from the back seat. Angela swung around to whack him, but David ducked and she missed. "No TV for that tonight, David. I won't have your cheek." "I was only kidding, Mum." "Well, I'm not," said Angela, feeling upset. She had known for some time from the tightness of her clothes that she had been putting on weight, but hadn't realized just how large she had become. The bathroom scales had stopped working last year. They drove home in silence. The next night Angela decided to walk the 3 kilometers into town to attend her Fascinating Womanhood class. It was a sunny, mild evening, and Angela enjoyed her walk. The fragrance of newly mowed lawns and blossoms wafted onto the footpath from time to time. The low evening sun was warm on her face, and it was peaceful during lulls in the traffic. Occasionally she saw a person out running. Twice she saw women around her own age. Both of them had figures that looked slim and lithe. Angela thought of the goal she had written in her goal list last week to run 3 kilometers 4 times a week. She had only managed to get out for 1 short run since then. She would have to organize herself better. "Good evening, everybody," said the teacher cheerfully when everyone was seated. Tonight the teacher wore an attractive white calf-length dress and had a yellow flower pinned above her ear in her shoulder-length silver hair. The teacher looked slender and lively as always. However, Angela felt comforted by the fact that most of the other women in the class were plump like herself. Bev was obese. Even Diane, who had formerly been thin, had gained considerable weight during the 6 weeks of the course. Cherry was solid and robust, but energetic and athletic in her movements and build. Only Kathy and Beth were slim. Now, who's going to share a fascinating womanhood experience they've had during the week? Many hands went up. The teacher looked pleased. Bev, you've had an experience you'd like to share. That's excellent. Come on up. Bev blushed as she spoke, but looked radiant. Bev, a true experience. My husband came home late Friday and expected me to be mad at him, but I met him with a smile, and he responded with a loving pat. Later in the evening, he said he was sorry he was late and he felt guilty. He said he likes the new me, and if I'm really going to go the extra mile to please him, he was going to try to please me too. And Saturday night, he took me and the boys out to dinner and to a show. Thank you, Bev. That's wonderful. Remember, class, the most important time of your day is the moment your husband comes home. It is a highly sensitive time for him. It's a time when he will most appreciate a little tenderness and sympathy from you. It can make a world of difference to your marriage. Also remember to say nothing about yourself or any household problems until you have comforted him and he's eaten. Now, Diane, you had your hand up. Come and share your experience with us. Angela marveled at the change in Diane. She was now nothing like the thin, depressed woman of the first class. Not only had she gained weight, but each week she seemed to have grown in confidence. The thinness had gone from her voice, and she now held herself well, and was becoming a handsome woman. Diane, a true experience. In the past, I felt that motherhood was about the only real joy of womanhood for me. I used to envy men in their role in life and society. I felt trapped at home and resentful that women were placed in obedience to men. This new concept and respect for my sex is one of the most wonderful things that has happened to me. Already my marriage is happier than I could have believed possible. My husband has a new spring in his step and a new note of authority in his voice which thrills me. I am finally really satisfied and happy with being a woman. Thank you so much, Diane. Isn't life wonderful when we live correct principles? Isn't it thrilling when our husband steps out and leads us with confidence and authority? Now, on to secret number 7. This secret is one of the most neglected secrets among married women. The teacher turned and wrote on the board, Secret number 7. Make the most of your hair, your figure, and your health. Bev groaned. The teacher glanced around and smiled. What's wrong, Bev? You're picking on me, teacher. The teacher laughed. Sorry, Bev, but a woman's figure is important to a man. My husband doesn't complain. Men know better than to criticize their wife's figure, but that doesn't mean they're happy with it. A woman's figure means a great deal to a man. Yeah, just watch their eyes when a curvy girl is around, said Cherry, rolling her own eyes. Especially when they think we're not watching them. It's not only Bev's problem, it's mine, too, said Angela. I am embarrassed to tell you what my children said about me yesterday. Children can be painfully truthful, but let's not be too hard on ourselves. Many men prefer their wives on the plump side. But what puts them off are rolls of fat around the waist, blubbery thighs, and loose flabby skin on our upper arms. But if our contours, or curves, as Cherry puts it, are smooth and firm and in proportion, men will still find us very attractive, even if we are plump or large-boned. It's the hourglass shape that men find attractive, not slimness. In fact, you'll find that most men regard modern skinny models as most unattractive. My husband says they look hideous, said Cherry. Mine, too. Bony does not look good. Beth raised her hand. Yes, Beth? Aren't you making us out to be sex objects? I expect my husband to love me for my personality, not my appearance. Well, Beth, to men, our bodies and our hair are part of our personalities. They can have very powerful influences on their love for us. You can't separate a man from his sexuality. It's interwoven into his nature. It's a constant part of him. When a woman combines cheerful enthusiasm, childlike humility, femininity, the sex appeal of an hourglass figure, and appealing hair, she becomes a highly delightful creature to a man, almost irresistible, especially when she smiles. "You may be right," said Beth. "But now that my stomach is swelling up, my contours aren't exactly hourglass. What's my husband going to think when I get bigger still?" The teacher smiled. "Most of us feel unattractive and bulky when we're pregnant, Beth. But to our husbands, we are radiant and beautiful. They are so proud of themselves, they feel so masculine. To a husband who loves his wife, pregnancy is mysterious and fulfilling, even holy and sacred. Of course, his rosy viewpoint doesn't continue after our baby is born. We need to regain our figures as quickly as possible. We'll come back to our figures a little later. Let's first talk about that lovely aid to our attractiveness, something few married women make the most of, at least from a man's point of view, and that's our hair." And I've heard many men say, including my own husband, that they don't mind a little extra weight from giving birth to babies because it's their babies and they know that's what caused the weight gain. And they're happy with their babies, so they're happy with our bodies. So don't stress. I'm going to stop the video here because the next video is going to be a lot about hair, and I just want to include it in the same video. Bye.